Today I'm going to share the review and a quick test drive of the 2025 Mazda CX-70. This is the plug-in hybrid vehicle. But here you have a regular 8-speed automatic transmission. The suspension is nicely balanced between Hi everyone, this is Roman Rides, and today I'm going to share the review and a quick test drive of the 2025 Mazda CX-70. This is the plug-in hybrid vehicle. So let's go. I'm going to show the interior, exterior, price, and test drive, and then we'll compare it to other rivals in this class. 2025 Mazda CX-70. Probably months ago I made a review, maybe a few weeks ago I made a review about regular gas-powered CX-70 2025. That was the top trim, the Premium Plus, with ventilated seats, panoramic roof, and all the bells and whistles. And today I'm going to show you the PHEV and how it stands out, and how it's really different from other vehicles, especially in the Mazda lineup, and then we'll compare it to other rivals. So from an exterior perspective, I want to say that this is a very handsome vehicle. I told the same in my previous video. This car has been provided to me by Furman Mazda in Brandon here. I'm not affiliated with the dealership, I'm just showing what I like. So courtesy of Ben, who works there, I was able to get this car for review. So my honest opinion on this car, first of all, looks-wise, this is a great looking vehicle. I really like the proportions. So I really like the long hood because this is a rear-wheel drive platform. Initially, gas-powered vehicles, they have majority of the torque coming from the engine to the rear-wheel drive, to the rear axle, and then you have about 30-40% sent to the front axle. So long hood, short overhang, short front overhang, very, very beautiful and handsome vehicle, and like just a little bit larger overhang in the back of the vehicle. Very nice and very handsome wheels as well. This is 21-inch wheels, 275 by 45 Falcon tires. 275, that's quite a wide vehicle, quite a wide tread, I would say. So aside from that, how this really is different from CX-90, you don't have a lot of chrome here. Literally don't have any chrome elements here aside from this chrome looking, but it's more like a plastic, aluminum looking plastic, so it's not a real aluminum, it's not chrome. Everything else, also the bumpers are different, so the inserts of the bumpers, they are different. The mesh grille, it's a bit different. It's fully black gloss, blacked out gloss grille, fully LED headlights. This is what I really like about latest Mazda vehicles. The headlights they work great. Then you have this PHEV emblem on the front fender. You have black mirror caps, you have black roof rails, you have black door handles. You don't have any chrome here, like for example you may find on the CX-90. Then in the back you have eSkyActiv PHEV badge here, which lets you know that this is not a regular gas-powered CX-70, but it's rather a hybrid, and especially it's a hybrid with ability to plug it in. So this is all-wheel drive, it's conventional all-wheel drive. So which means that you have a drive shaft, unlike Toyota and some Toyota and Lexus hybrid vehicles, you don't have, which they don't have like a classic standard drive shaft, because they have so-called rear axle, where they have a dedicated electric motor sitting on the rear axle. Here you have a classic situation here where you have the engine. And yeah, let's talk about the engine. So how this vehicle is different from a regular gas powered. So first of all, you have a 4-cylinder SkyActiv G with direct injection the engine producing around 185 horsepower. Then this is the first part of this of the whole system. Then there is electric motor sitting right behind the engine. So this electric motor producing 173 horsepower is connected to the 8-speed automatic. So 8-speed automatic gearbox has a few wet clutches. Instead of the torque converter, you have a set of different wet clutches connected to this one clutch of this electric motor. So you have the engine gas powered, you have the electric motor, you have a few clutches which engage, so basically the torque coming from the motor, from the engine, gas engine, goes to this electric motor, goes through this electric motor to this multi-wet clutches 8-speed transmission without classic torque converter. And then you have a drive shaft coming to the rear axle. So this is how it actually works. Also behind the rear seats you have a battery, which is 14.8 kilowatt hours battery. So you can charge it at home here in the US. For example, if you're using a regular socket, 110 volt socket, it will take around 11 hours to fully charge this battery. If you have a level 2 charger, because you have 7.2 kilowatt charger onboard charger, then you can, using this 240 volt socket, which is level 2, you can charge this battery to 100% for in 2 hours and 20 minutes. So 2.5 hours you can do that actually. So and then this will provide you around 30 miles of pure electric driving. So this is where this vehicle really stands out. And I think it will be useful. Buying this vehicle makes sense if you live in a city, you don't have a lot of highway driving, otherwise you'll just drain the battery. But technically you cannot drain the battery completely to 0% because Mazda has obviously reserved like a few percents in order to make this vehicle work as a regular hybrid, which leads us to not a conclusion but a real fact. But again, we are using EPA facts here. So for example, you have completely depleted this battery, completely, I mean there are a few percent left, you will have 25 mpg. If you have a fully charged battery and you are in a hybrid mode, you'll have 56 mpge. If you don't have that, you can just forget about charging this battery and use this vehicle as a regular gas powered. Then you will have a vehicle which is actually a hybrid vehicle. So all in all, it's a very interesting vehicle. This is where Mazda stepped up the game, trying to compete with rivals from Toyota, from Lexus, and obviously probably the direct competitor here would be Lexus RX 450h Plus, but that vehicle has rear wheel drive, which means there is electric motor dedicated to propelling the rear axle only. And that vehicle does not have any kind of transmission. That's a planetary gear set, splitting the torque between all wheels. I mean, between front wheels, and obviously you have a separate motor sitting in the back. But in this case, you have a classic drive shaft, you have a classic transmission minus torque converter. So instead of the torque converter, Mazda is using a set of wet clutches. Again, this is not a robotic transmission like DSG in Volkswagen or S-Tronic in Audi or PDK in Porsche, for example. So I think it's time to go and see what you can find inside, about features and functionalities of this vehicle inside cabin. You have panel roof. So yeah, let's go inside and then we'll talk about pricing and I'll take it for a quick spin. All right, so coming inside, so get inside the vehicle. First of all, we don't have this suede inserts. Unlike in the previous video, I had a car with suede, but that was a gas-powered vehicle. It had a lot of suede inserts here. Here we have a Napa leather. It's a genuine Napa leather. This is the top trim, which is CX-70 Premium Plus. Unfortunately, we don't have any thigh support, so that would be great. And other than that, the seats are very comfortable. I would say they're a bit slippery, especially in harsh turns, but I don't think that you're going to use these vehicles like that. It's not a sports car, so let's get inside because it's very hot outside. You have a fully digital dash. You have how many miles you have in pure electric mode. We have 10 miles left right now, and we have also 200 miles in gas on a hybrid drive, probably, or just gas powered drive. Yes, gas and hybrid, gas and electric combined 200 miles or 10 miles purely electric drive. So you have paddle shifters, which you can use to operate downshift and upshift your 8-speed transmission with a set of wet clutches, as I have just said before. You have power operated trunk, you have TSC off, this is your stability control. You have parking sensor deactivation here, and you have a host of safety systems activated here, so you can use them a lot, or you can disable or enable the sound, the bus of that. You have 2 position memory seats here for the driver, not for the passenger. So instead of piano black and a lot of glossy black plastic, I really like how Mazda went with this kind of aluminum looking like inserts here. Everything is soft, so it's soft molded plastic here. You have different switches here. Obviously all windows, they automatic up and down. You can also fold your mirrors. That's a nice feature. This is the top trim. Then you have the Bose audio system, which plays quite well, I would say, but unfortunately I cannot show you how that plays in the video, so you have to test it yourself. Then you have a lot of buttons, physical buttons. This is where Mazda vehicles really stand out from other competitors nowadays, especially in 2024, because everyone goes with touchscreen, but here you have a host of physical buttons. You have a three-zone climate control. I want to say tri-zone. Yeah, three-zone climate control, heated steering wheel, heated seats, ventilated seats. Everything else is physical buttons as well. So you can change where a fan blows and all that stuff using these buttons. Also, there are rockers, which you can use for temperature changes, sync, and auto mode. Then you have this selector, which you are using to shift gears. So it's very interesting pattern. It's not like a regular forward and backward. So you have to press the button, have to press this button, turn it to the right and all the way down. This is your drive mode. Or if you put it in reverse, you can activate 360 camera. Unfortunately, because this vehicle does not have a touch screen, unless you're an Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, this is not a touch screen. So I cannot operate it using touch screen here. You have to operate using these knobs and dials. But as soon as you start using Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, this is where you can actually start using a touch screen here. So, and which means if you have no phone connected to your system, you don't have CarPlay, you have to operate your 360 camera using these knobs and dials to switch between different modes. So you can have a panoramic view, like a wide angle view camera. You can have different modes here, top down, 360, parking mode, and all that stuff. So I'll bring it back to the parking position. You have MI drive, so you can switch different modes. So you can see currently we have off-road mode, which is just a different settings and configuration on how the vehicle operates, traction control, ABS, and torque split between the rear wheels. Then you have EV mode, it's purely EV mode. You have normal, and you also have sport. So sport is the best performance. So it will be combining both electric motor and gas motor. What else do you have? Your start-stop button here. You can dim in and dim out your digital dash cluster. Obviously you have rain sensing wipers, you have automatic headlights. This is where you switch automatic headlights, high beam or low beam, for example. And yeah, this is your pedal shifters as I mentioned. Here you can use your adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, automatic emergency braking and notifications. And this is where you use buttons you use for multimedia audio controls. So aside from that, you also have this split style cubby here under the central armrest with 2 USB Type-C chargers. You have your glove box compartment. It's quite a large compartment. You have nice stitching here. Everything is soft. This is natural leather inserts here. So in some trim levels, like in gas-powered CX-70s, you will find suede inserts, but here we have Napa leather, contrasting stitching. Obviously perforated leather for ventilated seats, for heated seats. Looking good, but sometimes you feel it's slippery, especially in harsh turns. But again, I hope you are not going to drive like like that in this type of vehicle. I would really like, my height is 6.2, so I would really like to have the under thigh support. That would be a great addition to that vehicle. So let's go back and see how it's different from CX-90. So we have a parking. Let's go. Black door handles. I have folded down. So this is how it actually differs from CX-90. So in CX-90 you would have a third row, but if you're going to purchase this vehicle, a few perks. You have a larger trunk space, which I'm going to review in a few minutes, and you have a bench seat here. So top trim CX-70 differs from top trim CX-90 because it doesn't have captain chairs. If you don't need captain chairs, this is the way to go with CX-70. But unfortunately, I expected a bit more knee room and leg room in general here on the second row. But again, you have all the amenities here. You have climate control, separate climate control for rear passengers, for rear occupants. You have heated seats, 3-stage heated seats. You can change your temperature where AC blows. You have your vents. You also have sunshades here, which is very convenient. You have the same aluminum inserts on the door panels here. All windows, they're automatic up and down. It's a quite roomy interior. It's very light because you have a lot of light coming from the sunroof. I should say panel and you have this armrest with 2 cup holders. So this is the second row. I wish Mazda had more space here reserved for knee room and legroom, because obviously they removed the third row, which means they had space, but unfortunately they just removed this third seat without proper adjusting the second seat. So it's still kind of like a sacrifice, should I say. Some people actually say that the back end of the vehicle is not in line with other exterior cues and lines, but I think it's a arguable question. I find this vehicle really attractive. So what you have in the back, huge trunk compared to the CX-90, because obviously you don't have the third row. You have 2 household style sockets here, one for 120 volts, 150 watts, and the second one for the same voltage, which is 120 volt, but 1500 watts. So you can use your, I don't know, laptop, whatever, a few appliances you can use and you can charge it here. So obviously you can fold the seats down, and then you will have like a slight steep. So it's not completely flat, but still you can haul some long items here. You can lock the vehicle completely from the trunk, or you can just close the lid. So let's go inside, talk about pricing, and actually let's start from pricing right now. This car but the final price for this car, this is a Premium Plus 2025 Mazda CX-70. Final price including destination and handling here at the dealership, $59,980. So what optional equipment, what Premium Plus package means compared to the regular CX-70 plug-in hybrid Premium, no Plus. So the Plus gives you Napa leather trim seats. So it's 8-weight power front passenger seat, ventilated front seats, heated second row seats, heated leather steering wheel, 150 outlet, windshield wiper de-icer. That's a great option. 360-degree view monitor with see-through view. So 360 cameras, front cross traffic alert, and automatic braking is included. Smart brake support rear. So when backing up, the vehicle will stop automatically itself to prevent collision. And security system. So the alarm, the total MSRP. So this dealer, the firm in Mazda, does not charge you with any additional markups, even though this vehicle is relatively new compared to other vehicles and compared to the Mazda lineup. Still no markups, nothing, just a dealer fee, and that's about it, $59,980. I should say that the regular CX-70, not the Premium Plus, but the regular Premium, which obviously doesn't have all these options like Napa leather and ventilated and heated steering wheel, for example, or ventilated seats or rear heated seats, still it starts from around $54,500. So I will add additional details here, like actual pricing from the website. And I should say this is on par with some of the Japanese competitors as well as some German competitors. For example, if you're looking at BMW X5 50e, which has more power than this vehicle. This vehicle produces 330 horsepower and 330 or 60 pound-feet of torque. So that X5, first of all, it starts from $72,000, which is a lot. It's like $12,000, $13,000 more than this vehicle, although it features adaptive air suspension, so which definitely makes it stand out from this vehicle. If you compare it with the Mercedes GLE, it also starts from around $75,000, and then you start adding options. So Mazda is a great combination. It's a great, I should say, value for the money, because you have a lot of options, and the base price for that vehicle without the plus package is 54, so it's even less. It's almost 20 grand less than BMW and Mercedes. And this vehicle, obviously, it's more expensive. It has a few more options available, as I have just mentioned. That's why it's more expensive and it's closer to the rivals. But what about Lexus? So Lexus regular hybrid 350h, which starts from $56,000, is really on par with this vehicle, but you cannot charge that vehicle. That's a regular hybrid. But then you have Lexus RX 450h Plus, which you can plug in, and that vehicle starts around $72,000, which is like 12, 11, 13 grand more than this one. So compared to the competitors, especially the same class, which is plug-in hybrid, 2 or 3 row vehicles, this is not the best deal. Not the worst, I wanted to say, sorry. So it doesn't seem too much. Of course, because of inflation and all prices hikes, it's sad to admit that everything is super expensive today, but compared to other vehicles adjusted for inflation, I think this is a great value proposition for this car nowadays. All right, now it's time to take it for a quick drive. So this is CX-70 2025 plug-in hybrid. Let's put it into drive and let's select the EV mode. So we're currently in EV mode and we have 9 miles of pure EV driving. Let's go. Yeah, the first meters here, and I noticed this upshifts and downshifts, and definitely you know that this is not a regular electric vehicle. It's not a Toyota Lexus vehicles because they don't have regular transmissions. They have this planetary gear set, which somehow, I don't know why they called eCVT, but it has nothing to do with eCVT. But here you have a regular 8-speed automatic transmission. The suspension is nicely balanced between not a harsh one, but it's not super boaty, right? So if I cannot compare this to body and frame vehicles, obviously. Those vehicles are much comfortable vehicles, I should say. So this vehicle is a unibody. Over rough roads, over rough surfaces, definitely you will notice that. Actually, let's go here. Definitely you will notice that it's on the, just a second. It's on the firmer side, I should say. Yeah, acceleration is decent. It's not crazy. I'm not gonna crazy accelerate here. Obviously, this is a new car. I'm not gonna add too many miles. I'm not gonna stress this vehicle too much. But just doing like a regular driving here, and it's more than enough. It's more than adequate. How this accelerates compared to, of course, compared to gas-powered vehicle. This is what I wanted to say. The gas-powered 3.3 turbocharged turbo S will be faster, but somehow, but at least from the feeling perspective, from your feeling of this car, driving this car, because if you take a look at the numbers say 5.9 seconds 0 to 60, which means that this vehicle is equally fast as CX-90 or CX-70 with gas engine 3.3, even though it has less horsepower, but the torque number is the same. It's about 340, 350 or 360 pound-feet of torque. I should have added the comments during the video, so with proper numbers. I just don't remember the exact numbers for that. But yeah, Central Florida, Tampa Bay area, it's a quite hot day, I should say. So you have 3-zone climate control, ventilated seats. I think that you should go with this Premium Plus because you have natural, genuine leather, you have a black ceiling, you have a ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, heated second row seats. Yeah. It's a bit sluggish, especially comparing that we have just 7 miles left in pure EV driving. It's on the sluggish side, definitely, in pure EV mode. So I think let's switch to normal or to sport. So the gas engine just kicked in. Yeah, definitely it's faster, but obviously I expected that. Just don't want to stress the vehicle too much. Yeah, obviously in sport mode it behaves completely differently. Completely differently. But again, if you're buying this vehicle, you probably want or expect to drive it efficiently, which means you're going to charge this vehicle every night or every other day or every other night, whatever, depending on your life and work lifestyle, or I should say work-life balance. If I really want performance, I would not buy this vehicle over gas-powered. So I think this vehicle greatly fits for those people who live in the city. They don't have a lot of highway driving. They want to experience quiet, nice drive without this gas noise coming from the gas engine, obviously. So I think for those people, this will greatly work. Again, except for the fact that you will feel and you will definitely notice these upshifts and downshifts. Obviously, it has a regular transmission. So, but if you're looking for ultimate performance, I think you should go with the gas-powered CX-70. It's not about racing. It's not about breaking speed limits. It's not about that. It's just about how you drive. For example, I personally prefer gas-powered vehicles. I'm not a big fan of EV. I do a lot of highway driving, not every day, but still. So for me, this is where this type of vehicle, which is plug-in hybrid, would not work, because you have to have some some trade-off, right? I don't know. Especially I'm talking about this jerkiness. Sometimes the transmission or the unit which controls everything, the ECU, sometimes it doesn't know which gear to use, for example, for upshifts or for downshifts. Sometimes it can abruptly shift, or it can abruptly go from one mode, which is EV mode, for example, to just purely gas-powered mode. So all of this combined gives you this mixed bag of experience. I'm not saying it's a bad car, again. I'm just saying that you need to have it for a test drive. You need to take it for a test. You need to experience this vehicle yourself. And then you need to come up with a final decision whether you want to buy it or not. Definitely it's on firmer side, but I should check the tires pressure, because this is the big contributor to how you feel this vehicle. Especially when you take it for a test drive, just check your tire pressure, and this is when you know that, okay, the tires are overinflated. Obviously, you're not going to feel the best behavior of this suspension configuration or suspension setup, right? So check that. Check that you have your battery charged as well, because this will greatly contribute to how you feel, how you perceive this vehicle, especially when it switches between different modes. Yeah, just have at least 10-15 miles of pure EV range. Ask your dealer, for example, come in here, Furman Brand, and ask Ben or anyone else, or Chris, and ask for that vehicle that has around 10-15 miles of pure EV range, and then test it in pure EV mode to feel that. Currently I'm in a hybrid mode, but let's switch from sport to normal. Yeah, so normal mode will make sure that you have a hybrid experience. So it's automatically adjusting how much power you need from the gas engine, how much power you need from electric motor, and all in all combined, I think normal mode, this is the best mode. So in sport mode, I have just felt kind of jerky behavior, and in this normal mode, it's much softer, it's much smoother experience. So I would advise you to use just a regular normal mode. And if you have your battery charged, then you can use it in pure EV mode. So now we are in EV mode. Now the gas engine kicked in. Now again, deceleration, brakes, recuperation, so you can save some electricity. And also one of the features that I should cover in this review is that you can force charge the battery. So by pressing this button, you can actually reserve some charge in your battery, so you do not deplete it completely. For example, you will need pure EV driving range of around 5-10 miles when you come in at home. For example, you don't want to wake your people up, wake your family up at night. This is where you engage that one. So you can reserve the electricity in your battery. So it's a nice feature of this vehicle as well. So in terms of features, in terms of capabilities of this vehicle, this is a great vehicle, and it's interesting. It has a lot of interesting features and solutions, especially this 8-speed transmission with a set of wet clutches combined with electric motor with gas engine, and all together, definitely I think Mazda will improve on that. And will update this vehicle throughout the years. Obviously, they have already improved suspension on CX-90, which was on firmer side. CX-70 feels definitely more relaxed, I should say, more soft, right? Softer experience. So I think they will do something similar to that, to suspension calibration, to engine calibration and transmission calibration. They will do something similar with the powertrain here, and how different modes work and operate. And I think in about half a year and 1 year, based on your feedback, based on the data that they're collecting from these vehicles, they will make some noticeable improvements, hopefully. As of now, I should recommend this vehicle for people who, first of all, love Mazda brand itself, and for someone who are looking for a two-row SUV which you can plug in, but you don't want to go Lexus or Toyota. So I think that's my 5 cents here, or 2 cents I should say. So let's sum this video up. After testing this vehicle, after the test drive, if that it's not for everyone. To be honest, this vehicle feels a bit jerky, especially considering that in pure EV mode, you expect this vehicle to behave like a regular Tesla, for example. Is that it's super quiet. In pure EV mode, you expect this vehicle to behave super smoothly. You do not expect to hear or feel any upshifts or downshift from the transmission, but then you start realizing that, hey, I can feel this from first to second shift, from second to third, and all that stuff. Obviously, it's an 8-speed automatic. So before you purchase this vehicle, first of all, take a look at the technical specs, take a look at the details. I hope this vehicle, you find this video useful before buying this vehicle. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad vehicle, but experience in driving in a hybrid and full EV mode, or pure EV mode, should I say, it's not a regular experience that you might have experienced in Toyota or Honda vehicles. So Toyota, Honda vehicles, they do not have transmissions at all. So this EV mode experience in those vehicles, of course, Honda does not have a hybrid which you can plug in, but Toyota and Lexus, they do have these vehicles. And if you're switching from Toyota or Lexus, for example, then you will find it a bit strange, and you will find it a bit unusual, obviously. So sometimes in a hybrid mode in these vehicles, you can feel this jerkiness when the vehicle cannot decide whether it should still remain in the gas mode or EV mode, and this transition between these modes, it's definitely noticeable. It's highly noticeable, and this is one of the drawbacks of this vehicle. Other than that, it's super quiet, but when it becomes super quiet in EV mode, you start hearing everything else. For example, in gas-powered CX-70, you will not hear a lot of wind noise or wheels noise coming from tires or everything else. Here, or from cabin, like rattles and squeaks, for example. But when you start driving this car in pure EV mode, you start hearing other additional ambient sounds coming. I just shared what I think about this car. It's just my impression, just my opinion. If you find this video useful, just hit like button. Please support me, and by subscribing to this channel, I'll be providing and I'll be sharing more reviews and more tests like this. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you find it useful. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.